Hi everyone, this is William with the second part of the diary entry of 12th September 1907. Okay, I should not have a hard time remembering that because I'm doing this on the 17th of September 2024. Of course, here it's cold. There in the Crimea, I imagine it's quite warm, but Dmitri will in due course be going back to Moscow, where it will certainly be colder than it will get here this winter. All right, so what did we talk about last time? About comparison between Aunt Minnie's girls and the four Grand Duchesses, the daughters of Nicholas and Alexandra, about the church in Oreanda that Dmitri was quite taken with, and just then a brief remark about going out shooting but not getting anything. So let's dive in. GM is now in an excellent mood, and it's very clear why. Because the last 2 or 3 days have been absolutely normal for us, i.e., we studied when we were supposed to and went riding at good times and only for short periods of time. Despite having worn a uniform for almost a week now, I can't get used to my military uniform. It's so nice to think that when I'm back in Moscow, I'll be wearing a dress tunic to the theater instead of the white blouse, and will be carrying a sword when I go out on the street for a walk. Even though all of that is stupid, it warms my heart. After tea, as I said, I went shooting but didn't kill anything, so I just ended up talking with GM. Okay, so this is our thoughtful young man in this section of the diary entry. As usual, he's very tuned in to the mood and the not the thoughts, but the sort of vibes that he's getting, though of course he would not have used that word, from the people around him, and in particular GM, who is probably the closest person to him aside from his sister at this period in his life. And when we started the Crimea diary entries, GM was in a horrible mood, so much so that it made Dmitri nervous and in a sad mood himself. So, as I say, a thoughtful young man. Part of this, I think, is probably an adaptation to not having a stable family life when he was little, or not having hands-on adults, parents in his life. So now he has developed this strategy of really keeping an eye on people and trying to accommodate them as much as possible. And we're going to see a lot of that in the next few diary entries. And there's this sort of rivalry that Dmitri has already referred to between GM and his aunt, his and Maria's aunt, who's there practically next door and wants to spend lots of time with her niece and nephew and wants to have a say in in raising them. And so GM wasn't at all happy with this. And another rival we'll see, is not so much a single person as the rest of the family, and they want Dmitri and Maria, who are now 17 and 16 years old, to come and spend time with them and really be more integrated into not just family life, but into the social life and the evening life of the other Grand Dukes and Grand Duchesses. So why is GM in an excellent mood now? Well, Dmitri informs us that it's because their life is just following its normal course for the most part. He's doing the things that he usually does with Laming, studying, and going out riding. And apparently Laming likes the fact that they are going out, Dmitri tells us, at good times and only for short periods of time when they go riding. And Laming, of course, Dmitri had informed us when he was back in Ilinskaya, was not a confident or a comfortable rider when he was on horseback. Okay, so that's something we should keep our eye on in the next few, and indeed in all the Crimea diary entries, is how Dmitri is relating to GM, specifically with respect to GM's tendency to be moody. Okay. Now, I thought he'd been wearing his military uniform for a longer period, but he informs us that it's been almost a week, so only a few days, and he's having a hard time getting used to it, but he's also looking forward to being able to go to the theater in this dashing uniform and no longer in the white blouse of a boy, of a child. And, he's beginning to want to go out in the evening and do adult kind of activities in the sense of, seeing the socialites and being seen by them. And now he can do it wearing this lovely uniform, this handsome uniform, and he also gets to carry a sword because officers carry swords, so he gets to carry a sword when he goes out. So he refers to going out for a walk along the street, and you wouldn't think he would be doing that given the danger that he at least seems to have felt only recently. He seems to have felt that there was still danger, and it still scared him, thinking in some instances, thinking of the revolutionary element in Moscow in particular. But now he's looking forward to going out in public and taking walks and showing off his uniform and the fact that he's carrying a sword and that he is an adult. Well, whatever we think of Laming, Dmitri was a very well brought up boy, and not only in the sense of having good table manners, which clearly is something that's important to him because he criticizes the four little Grand Duchesses specifically for not having good table manners. So not only in an exterior sense, but also in an interior sense, he clearly has been helped along the path of being a good man, let's say, a good young man, because he has temper issues, and it's clear from these diary entries that they've really been working with him on that. Whoever you want to say they is, whether it's the Lamings and Miss June, but also maybe Nicholas and Ella, probably mostly Ella, and so he's gotten that under control. And he also has, been taught that it's not good to be a show-off. And so he makes reference to, well, it's stupid that I'm so looking forward to wearing this uniform in public, but it nonetheless warms my heart. And if you tune in today for the 1921 diary entry, you'll again see signs of him being a young man who was brought up with a strong moral compass. When he talks about what a struggle it is for him in that diary entry, what a struggle it is for him to contemplate marrying for money. Sincerely, I think, but you can judge that for yourself if you watch that video and hear that section of the diary. So then he ends it just by saying a brief word on the fact that he went out shooting. He didn't get anything. He's already told us that. So he himself uses the phrase, as I said, Not sure why he brings that up again, but well, it seems like he wants to tell us that despite having not managed to get anything, he used that time then to just talk with GM. And that came up yesterday in the previous section of Diary when he mentions just sitting and talking with his aunt and uncle, George and Minnie. And I noted that, that was a sign to me of him having genuinely become more mature. And I sure remember, I don't remember how old I was when I made that transition, but I remember thinking as a kid of, 10, 11, and when my family got together, my grandparents, my aunt and uncle, my parents, and I would be off with my cousins, running around outside, or if the weather was bad, doing things inside the house, playing games and various things. And it just astounded me. I remember, consciously thinking, why is it that adults who have so much agency and can do whatever they want just want to sit around and talk to each other? And I thought, I sure don't want to be that way when I grow up. But now I have the exact same thing with my nieces and nephew and my friends' children. When I'm over and they want to play games and they want me to join them, and I try to say, well, no, why don't you sit down and have a conversation with me? And, they look at you like you're from Mars. But anyway, this as another thing that we'll see as these diary entries go along, that he really treasures that now. He really enjoys having time to sit down with adults and they listen to him and he listens to them, and it's something new and something that he really enjoys. So that is it for today. At last, a short one, but we're not done with this diary entry of the 12th. We'll be coming back for the final section of it and for a very, very interesting section of it. And again, we'll have not Dmitri the poet, but Dmitri the introspective and sensitive young man. And he'll talk in particular about his relationship with his sister, about what he's doing, and about how what she's doing, and about how he personally is preparing himself for being without her in the near future as she gets married to a Swedish prince and goes off to live in her new country with her husband. All right, so come back for that. And if you get a chance, also look for today's 1921 diary entry and a continuation of this idea that Dmitri, who was brought up in a very religious household, and indeed as an adolescent brought up by a nun, how that genuinely did make an impact on him, and how when he was as an adult doing things that could be regarded as hedonistic, it took its ounce of flesh every time he gave way to things like that. So you could say that at times in his life he was a playboy to a certain extent, but you couldn't say that it ever was heedless on his part. All right, so I will see you next time. Bye.